June 18th, 1815, a tiny patch of land in Belgium. It's raining, it's muddy, and for Napoleon Bonaparte, this mud isn't just an inconvenience, it's the reason he's about to lose everything. We've all heard the word Waterloo. We use it to describe a final, crushing defeat. But what actually happened in those 10 hours of madness? Why did the greatest military mind in history suddenly fail? Today, we're going behind the smoke and the cannons to see how one rainy morning changed the map of the world forever. If you think this is just a boring history lesson, stay tuned, because the story of Waterloo is actually a psychological thriller. To understand Waterloo, you have to understand the stakes. Napoleon had been exiled to a tiny island called Elba. Everyone thought he was finished. But then, he did the unthinkable. He escaped, landed in France with a handful of men, and by the time he reached Paris, he had an army again. The rest of Europe went into a literal panic. Britain, Prussia, Austria, and Russia, the avengers of the 19th century, teamed up to stop him. Napoleon knew he couldn't fight them all at once. He had to strike fast. He had to divide and conquer. Napoleon arrives at Waterloo. Facing him is the Duke of Wellington, a man who was famously calm under pressure. But, Napoleon had a problem he just couldn't control: the weather. It had rained all night and the ground was, well, a swamp. Now here's the turning point. Napoleon's secret weapon was his heavy artillery. But you can't move heavy cannons through thick mud. So, he waited. He waited for the sun to dry the ground. He waited until 11:30 in the morning. Those few hours of waiting, they were honestly the most expensive hours in history, because while Napoleon waited for the mud to dry, the Prussian army, Napoleon's worst nightmare, was, well, marching through the woods to join the fight. The battle was a meat grinder. Wave after wave of French cavalry charged uphill against Wellington's so-called thin red line. Imagine thousands of horses charging at you, and you're told to just stand there. Wellington's men held their ground in squares, creating a forest of bayonets that the horses simply refused to jump over. By evening, Napoleon was desperate. He threw in his final card, the Imperial Guard. These were the elite, the invincibles. They had never lost, ever. But as they marched up the hill, the Prussians arrived on the flank. The French army realized they were surrounded. For the first time in history, the cry went out, "La garde recule!" The guard is retreating. Panic set in. The invincible army broke and ran. Napoleon's dream of a French empire died right there in the Belgian mud. Waterloo wasn't just a battle, it was the end of an era. Napoleon was sent to a remote island in the middle of the Atlantic where he'd never escape again. The map of Europe was redrawn, and Britain became the world's dominant superpower for the next century. So, the next time things don't go your way because of a little rain or a delay, just remember, even Napoleon lost an empire because he waited for the mud to dry. What do you think? Was Napoleon destined to lose, or was it just bad luck? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into history, hit that subscribe button for more stories that shaped our world. See you in the next one.